Then we had this massive earthquake in Sikkim, 2011. The road from Gangtok, the capital of Sikkim, to Siliguri in West Bengal was broken in 300 places. The mountain breaks, carries the road with it. How long can you go feeding the people of Sikkim by helicopter? Okay. You have to send essential supplies. You have to repair the road. It's the only road, by the way. It's the lifeline. Now I believe we're building something else. So we asked the Austrians, who are the best in the world in mountain roads, the country is very mountainous. They said 6 weeks after we get our heavy equipment there. Because on Google Earth these days, you can see everything. We couldn't wait 6 weeks. I was there with the Doordarshan team. I was filming the relief and rescue efforts. It was a terrible time for us. Well, of course, we told all the Videshis that thank you, but no thank you. We'll deal with this. We know how to deal with it. Then the then Prime Minister said, ask India's border roads. We did. And as I sit before you today, the then Director General, whom I know very well, he said, we are going to do an assessment and we'll come back and tell you how long it'll take. But first, let's find out. 19 hours later, he called, 19 hours later, to say the road is open. So when we set our minds to something, we're unstoppable. I went to this Sikkimese home. We lost a few kids from border roads because they were working at a great speed and they did not have the harnesses and they did not have all the protection that Westerners would be used to. So she had lost a kid. He slipped and died while opening the road for my team. So I went to her house and I said, sister, the military will give you compensation, border roads will give you, Sikkim government will give you, federal government will give you, you won't want for money. There's insurance and all kinds of things. Anything else I can do? She said to me, she says, the kid who died is 24. I have another son, get him a job. He's 21, just finished his first degree. So I said to her, I said, sister, I promise when I go back to Delhi, I'll speak to all my friends. And I have many. I'm big industrialists. For them to get a job for your kid is no issue. I'm talking of 2011. Right. And she then looked at me and she said to me in Hindi, एक तो बहन कहते हो और फिर कहते हो कि private sector में नौकरी दिलवाऊंगा. मैंने ये कब बोला आपसे? So I looked at her quizzically. I said, क्या चाहती हैं आप? She said, बड़ा बच्चा देश पे कुर्बान किया है मैंने. I've sacrificed my elder boy for India. छोटे बेटे को border roads में नौकरी लगवाओ ताकि if necessary he too can die for India. You know, son, as the water rushed into my eyes, I held her hands in mine and I said to her in Hindi, I said, Ma, tujhe salam. If I'm born in India again, I would wish it to be from the womb of a mother like you. So you can sacrifice me for India. And then I got the answer to a question that has haunted me from childhood. What defines us as Indians? What makes us different? I understood then. We are not Indians because we live in India. We are Indians because India lives in us. I understood that very clearly. I've never met her since. It's been 10 years. I don't know where she is. But wherever she is, I hope she's in good health and that her son is enjoying his work with border roads. Deloitte carried out an attitude survey last year of millennials and Gen Z, as they call it, those born between 1983 and 2003 in 43 countries. Surprise, surprise. Indians were the most optimistic. The younger people, your age, born between 1983 and 2003. Yes, you want to have a nice wedding, you want a nice spouse, you want a big house, you want a great job, you want a car. more than anything else, the top priority was to make an impact on society. And if any parents in India, the world, are listening to this conversation, please listen to what your kids are saying. We don't listen to them. We hear them, but we don't listen. Or we listen to them, but we don't hear them. They say they want to make an impact. These are Indian kids. Goldman Sachs, India's story, the world's most compelling. I didn't say it, I didn't pay them. The 15% of the world that ruled the other 85% for 200 years now faces disruption, depression, loneliness. The UK even has a minister for loneliness. They claim that they have 9 million lonely people, many of them rich old widows. So they are training young fellows to be companions. I said, could I be trained, please? If she's rich, what's the problem? They said, well, they are lonely, but they're not that lonely. And of course, India is bubbling with self-confidence and energy at this time. For too long, Mr. Madhishari, have others written India's destiny. We remember our past. Countries that don't remember their past have no future. We made mistakes. I've seen those mistakes. Never, never, never again. We've learned. And I have made a commitment to myself. My children have made it to me. That now we will write our future for ourselves. We will write it ourselves. No one else will write it for us. We will determine our destiny. If you ever get a chance to go to Kargil, there's a huge statue of the Buddha hewn into the countryside, into a mountain, at a place called Apati. Please go. At the feet of the Lord, since my mother was a Buddhist, is my tombstone. I got my friends in the army to build it for me. Very tiny stone. It just says Deepak Vohra, Indian, 1951 to eternity. I won't die in spirit. My spirit will be with India. And below that it says, scattered in the dust, silent I remain. When India's bugle calls, I will rise again. And when one of my principals, I shall not name him, saw it, he too had water in his eyes. And he said, "Ye kaun divana hai jo desh se itna pyar karta hai?" And he was told, he was actually told, "Sir, uska ek hi desh hai. Do desh hote to pyar badh jata hai. Ek hi jab ho to pura pyar usko deta hai." And so when I meet young people like you, I say, have faith and confidence. Forget about cynicism. Overcome fear. Because beyond fear lies victory. Dar ke aage jeet hai. Somebody asked the fakir, how do I change the world? The fakir responded, begin with yourself. Be the change you want to see. That fakir's name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. We're not gods, we are Indians. That's the next best thing. Swami Vivekananda said 125 years ago that future India must be much greater than ancient India. He said India is awakening. So while we recognize our past, we recognize our mistakes, we shall never make them in the future. And so in the years, the next 3, 4, 5 years, we are going to see a brave new world emerging, in which the priorities will be healthcare, climate stability, recovery, and development through open seas and new technologies. And when we talk about healthcare, say what you want. We are the pharmacy of the world. Yes. When we talk of climate change, sorry, I was feeling a bit hungry. When we talk of climate change, President Donald Trump withdrew from the climate agreement. It was a chance for the Chinese, who claim to be the grandfathers of the world, to walk in. But as long as there's no money to be made, and you have to give money or sacrifice something, they are not interested. So the mantle fell on us.
Yes.
We made certain commitments in Paris, 2015, at the climate agreement. For example, we said so much, 20 gigawatts of solar energy. Then we upped it to 170. Then we upped it to 450. Now we've upped it to 500
Yes.
gigawatts, which is 1 billion watts. So climate change again, and we have seen, you were not even born in the 70s when we had a Chipko movement in the Himalayas. So the Chipko movement was people would go and stick to a tree, put their arms around a tree and dare the contractors to cut them down. And that became the template for environmental movements around the world. Once again, India was leading. I mean, look at it, your rivers.
Right.
We worship them.
Yes.
We refer, except for the Brahmaputra in Assam, all the other rivers are Ma. Ganga Ma, Jamna Ma, Saraswati Ma, Kaveri Ma, Krishna Ma. It's the mother. And you don't do dhoka with the mother, not in our culture anyway. So that is the strength of India. Climate change, we are leading the fight. We have increased our contributions. It's unprecedented for a developing country.
Yes.
And the third thing would be free and open seas. And here, let me tell you, an actual conversation that took place. This was not in India, it was somewhere else. And a Chinese friend, we were talking about economic recovery. And I said, you guys are closing off the ASEAN Sea, which they call the South China Sea, etc. I said, no, that's ours. I said, how do you know? I said, well, some 9- line or 10- line or some rubbish like that. I said, what about the Pacific? He said, that is also ours. And I said, how's that? He said, well, about 500 years ago, a Chinese junk, a ship was sailing and it sank and the fellows are lying there. So it's by default, it's mine. I said, oh, wow, there's something I must tell you. Now, one of my ancestors, when you had the Opium Wars in the 19th century, he came from India to fight, British Indian Army. He fought there, he died there. So by default, China belongs to me. That was the end of the conversation. He didn't see the joke in it. But he was very serious about what he had been told by the Communist Party.
Right.
So I just wanted to mention that for the people who are watching this, that with these three priorities, healthcare, climate stability, and recovery through open seas and new technologies, free of terrorism, intimidation, domination, we are best placed to play a role because the world trusts India.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.